May I have your lordship's permission to commence the proceedings of the court?
Please. My esteemed colleagues, Mr. R. Venkataramani, Attorney General of India, Mr. Tushar Mehta, Solicitor General of India, Mr. Kapil Sibal, President, Supreme Court Bar Association, Mr. Vipin Nair, President, Supreme Court Advocates and Court Association, members of the bar, family members of late Mr. Justice Kuldeep Singh, late Mr. Justice M. Jagannathan Rao, and late Mr. Justice H.S. Bedi, present in person and online. The Supreme Court carries within it the intellectual heritage of those who have served on the bench. Each judge shapes our understanding of justice anew, with their decisions illuminating unexplored corners of law. As they interpret the Constitution, they also strengthen its living spirit. Today, we are convened to pay homage to three outstanding and distinguished judges of this court: Mr. Justice Kuldeep Singh, Mr. Justice M. Jagannathan Rao, and Mr. Justice H.S. Bedi. We reminisce about their time and their contribution to law of this country. While their judgments and intellect have decisively shaped the legal doctrine, it is their traits as judges that resonate deeply. They and the law lives through their judgments. The institutional spirit is enriched by the grace and wisdom they brought. Mr. Justice Kuldeep Singh. The beginning of Mr. Justice Kuldeep Singh's life was as extraordinary as his profession. At the tender age of 15, during the partition, he took responsibility for his family in the absence of his father and safely brought them to India. Later on, he had the option to continue with his family business, but he chose the career in law. Over the years, his repertoire as an advocate grew, combining eidetic memory of precedents and deep conceptual clarity. Yet it was his role as a mentor that Justice Kuldeep Singh outdid himself. Those who have worked with him in his chambers say that there was no grand instructions or heavy-handed lessons, just room for each person to find their own footing. This quiet, deliberate approach allowed many of those he mentored to flourish in the profession. His elevation in the Supreme Court in 1988 was an historic feat in itself. He was the fourth direct appointment from the bar in that point of time. His name as a green judge that he earned captures the essence of his legacy. He transformed environmental law from the set of regulations into a living guardian of a natural heritage. Today, the green benches across the high courts and the National Green Tribunal stand as a testimony to his vision. Quite admirable was the way he bridged the tradition divide between the bar and the bench with natural ease. As comfortable in spirited discussions in the court's coffee shop as in the courtrooms. His career spanning decades, his 8 years on the bench were distinguished by a rare fusion of judicial wisdom, warmth, and transparency. Justice Kuldeep Singh passed away on 25th November 2024. He is deeply remembered by his loving family. We are joined by his wife, Professor Gurminder K. Singh, his two sons, both senior advocates, Mr. Paramjit Singh Patwalia and Mr. Tapinder Singh Patwaria, his daughters, Ms. Simral Chadda and Ms. Chandna Singh, and other family members. Mr. Justice M. Jagannathan Rao. Mr. Justice M. Jagannathan Rao's journey into the legal profession was as unique as inspiring. Though he briefly pursued advanced studies at the Indian Statistical Institute in Kolkata, his heart was drawn to law, where he found his true calling. As an advocate, he was admired for his modest fees and his willingness to support younger colleagues, often arguing the cases with dedication and grace. His generosity and mentorship left an enduring legacy in the legal community. After a accomplished career at the bar, he went on to serve as the Chief Justice of both Kerala High Court and the Delhi High Court before his elevation to the Supreme Court in 1997. His judgment reflects a mind that valued precision and principles. His work on lakes at Hyderabad have created lasting foundations in environment law, establishing the precautionary principle and reverse burden of proof. The reforms he brought in the civil procedure and arbitration reveal his gift for making complex legal machinery practical and effective. His contribution to the legal profession continued long after he hung up his robes. He served as a vice chairman and chairperson of the 16th and 17th Law Commission of India from 2001 till 2006. He submitted 26 reports, starting from 176 report to 201st report on legal issues of contemporary relevance. His straightforward approach to life and law is something quite remarkable. He lived by the principles, integrity in action, simplicity in living, and dedication to justice. Beyond his judicial tenure, he remained deeply engaged in legal education, seeing teaching as a natural extension of his service to law. He served as a professor in Nalsar University and was distinguished member of the academic councils of several leading national law universities and institutions across India. Justice Rao left his legacy that merged scholarly rigor with practical wisdom, professional excellence, and personal humility, a model for a judge. Justice Rao passed away on 25th November 2024. From his family, we are joined today by his son, Mr. Justice M.S. Ramachandra Rao, Chief Justice, Jharkhand High Court, his daughters G. Ratna Manshri and Rama, and other dear family members. Mr. Justice Harjit Singh Bedi. Mr. Justice H.S. Bedi roots lay in the agricultural fields of Saiwal, Punjab. However, Mr. Justice H.S. Bedi brought his own unique blend of wisdom and warmth to these halls. His ascent through the legal ranks was meteoric. Enrolled as an advocate in 1972, he seamlessly balanced legal practice with academia, taking the role of a part-time lecturer in law in 1974. His dual commitment to the law and the classroom highlighted his dedication both to practice and as a student of law. He served as a Deputy Advocate General of Punjab from 1983 to 1987, a role that deepened his engagement with public law. Elevated as a senior advocate in 1987, he was soon appointed Additional Advocate General, a position he held till 1989, before serving as Advocate General for Punjab till the end of 1990. His judicial career began with his elevation to the Punjab and Haryana High Court in 1991. Justice Bedi served as the Chief Justice of Bombay High Court from 2006 to 2007. His career milestones marked by his brilliance, finesse, and dedication. He was elevated to this court in 2007. He brought tremendous gravitas to this court, yet would fill these halls with smile and laughter, even in sternest proceedings. During his 4 years in this court, his presence carried a quiet authority that commanded respect while creating ease. Outside his work, he found immense joy with his dogs, whom he doted on. Justice Bedi passed away on 21st November 2024. With us today are his sons, Mr. Justice G.S. Bedi, a Judge Punjab and Haryana High Court, Mr. Sarvajit Singh Bedi, together with the other beloved members of his family. These three distinguished judges, though different in their approaches, shared a common thread. They saw law as an instrument of positive change. Their legacies live not only through the judgments, which undoubtedly continue to guide us, but also through the profession itself, in moments of laughter, kindness, encouragement, and mentorship. They strengthened the institutions, upheld the principles, and brought distinctive character to this court. On behalf of my brother and sister judges, members of the bar and the court staff, I convey our heartfelt gratitude to the yeoman service rendered by these distinguished jurists. To the bereaved families of Mr. Justice Kuldeep Singh, Mr. Justice M. Jagannathan Rao, and Mr. Justice H.S. Bedi, no words can soothe the depth of the loss or fill up the void which they leave behind. We honor their memory by striving to uphold the principles, wisdom, and integrity that define their extraordinary lives. May their souls rest in eternal peace. May their example remain a guide light for all of us to follow.
Honorable the Chief Justice of India, Honorable Judges of the Supreme Court, my dear Solicitor General, Additional Solicitor General, President and Office Bearers of the Supreme Court Bar Association, President and Office Bearers of the Supreme Court Advocates and Record Association, members of the Bar and family members of Justice Kuldeep Singh, Justice Jagannatha Rao, and Justice H.S. Bedi, ladies and gentlemen. On a personal note, paying homage to the three honorable judges brings to my mind many deeply etched reminiscences. Each one of them have touched my professional career and life in special and many ways too profound and too many to be chronicled. Justice Kuldeep Singh. Well, Justice Kuldeep Singh and me were traveling together from Cochin to Delhi much later after the retirement, after attending a conference on environmental law. I learned about his younger days of migration from Pakistan, the tremendous responsibilities he shouldered in caring for the family, and his days of work in the consolidation department in Patiala. His narratives were a mix of the hardships, the sad history of partition, and the subtle teaching of endurance, and it is emotionally fulfilling. This brought me closer to understanding the evolution of his many-sided personality. While he talked about the study of law in India compared to the then systems in England, he was keen to stand by and support the law school experiments in his need to cater to larger sections of the community. Looking back now, I gather that he was prophetic. But what remains with me is another incident. This I recall and state only for the importance of how the ethical reputation we gather in our profession, much more than anything else, has its rewards. When I sought to make a distinction in favor of one amongst a batch of SLPs involving allotment of industrial plots in Faridabad, a bench presided by Justice Kuldeep Singh rejected my request. My entreaties on the ground of corruption did not prevail. Deeply disturbed by the disastrous consequences for the client, I filed a review petition and I mentioned before the bench for oral hearing. Justice Kuldeep Singh said we cannot make exceptions and the procedure will follow. I sat in the first row quietly for some time till miscellaneous matters are heard, showing my deep disappointment, and the judge kept watching me. I stood up again rather emotionally, and I said if there is some room for truth and corruption should not be condoned, I should be heard. Something seemed to have touched Justice Kuldeep Singh's heart. He asked the court master to play the paper book during lunch hours, and during lunch hours they were asked to meet him. With trepidation did I go, but the judge said, I respect your ethical values and the pro bono work you do, which I notice in your practice, and it is that prompts me to hear you again. The matter was heard and I succeeded. Light returned to my client's life. I narrate this not as my incident, not as anything about me, but only to chronicle the deep sensitivity of the judge to respect the importance of ethical values in the profession and his enduring sense of justice. I consider that he displays a sterling quality to the utmost throughout his stay in the court. This stands higher maybe than all other mentioned narrations about the wit and humor, the light banter in the court, and besides the magnetic qualities he had of attracting people being a very special quality. The green judge appellation which the learned judge earned came to him so naturally. I must say that the plenary principles of environmental law, such as sustainable development, polluter pays, and precautionary principles, got embedded in our green jurisprudence, owing to the sustained efforts made by the learned judge. The skeletal environmental law then received flesh and blood through his pushing hands. The intellectual and visionary fervor which Justice Kuldeep Singh brought into the bridge between these principles and operationalizing them are remarkable and remain of the environmental law history. Justice Kuldeep Singh had developed a warm and enduring relationship with Justice Krishna Iyer, who I knew had applaudingly regarded as Kuldeep Singh's fertile contribution to green law. His 8 years on the bench are etched with the indelible footprints of both the manner of doing justice and doing justice. I remember the toil he gave to the work on delimitation as the chairman of the Delimitation Commission. Few tasks were assigned to me informally, and I recollect his deep insights on the working of elections, and how important it is to facilitate the connection between the voters and the candidates. His report on the delimitation subject is a contribution with lasting impact. We join his family of illustrious achievers in sharing the loss of a wonderful human being and a great companion to all. Justice Jagannatha Rao. Rajahmundry in the East Godavari district in the state of Andhra Pradesh has produced notable figures in the state of Andhra Pradesh. Justice Jagannatha Rao, hailing from Rajahmundry and having the benefit of being one in a family of judges, coupled with a school and college education from prestigious institutions in Madras, had naturally acquired all the foundations of entering the higher judiciary. In his 12 years of judgeship in Andhra Pradesh High Court from 1982 till 1994 and 3 years as Chief Justice of Delhi High Court, one can pick up a series of judgments penned by him which were affirmed later by the Supreme Court. One notable instance of constitutional value was in the question whether a cooperative society would be amenable to this jurisdiction. The extraordinary legal acumen, erudition, and passion for simplifying the legal principle led to his being a member in the subcommittee on fundamental rights, the National Commission, to review the working of the Constitution. One can say that the consultation paper presented by Justice Rao on the financial autonomy of the Indian judiciary, as part of the committee headed by Justice H.R. Khanna and Justice V.P. Jeevan Reddy, is a scholarly treat. His reports to the Supreme Court as head of the committee concerning case management formula and ADR and mediation rules have not only been approved judicially, but have become an integral part of the working of the subjects themselves. The 21 reports which are submitted by the 16th and 17th Law Commission under the chairmanship not only cover a wide spectrum of subjects, but the range and depth of his scholarship, coupled with the simplicity of presentation, will always remain as venerable pieces of legal contribution to growth of law. Many of those reports have been in some form or the other translated to statutory instruments. I had the privilege and opportunity of assisting him in doing research for some of his reports. The scintillating mind of Justice Rao was indeed a treasure to be acquainted with. In the short period of 3 years, Justice Rao on the bench in the Supreme Court, Justice Rao not only had the opportunity but engaged himself in demonstration of his extraordinary legal craftsmanship in almost all branches of law. The views on proportionality expounded by him in Ganayatham case and further elaborated in the case of Om Kumar are brilliant piece of legal exposition. Amongst other judgments which are always quoted are his pronouncement in the M.V. Naidu case, deeply entrenching the sustainable development principle and reversing the burden of proof in litigation involving environmental protection, and the equally brilliant exposition of law in Radheshyam Gupta's case relating to termination of service of probationers, a temporary servant, will remain as part of her jurisprudence. True to his nature and inclination towards sharing knowledge, Justice Rao spent as much time in academic and educational activities as he could spare from important international commercial arbitration. It will be no exaggeration if one were to say that the word pious may be too small a word to describe the personality of Justice Rao, as the endeavoring quality of his life went around him like a robe which cannot be shed. Justice H.S. Bedi, being an adorable part of the legal fraternity and contributing to justice administration, runs in the family of Justice H.S. Bedi, with his father who had owned the Punjab High Court till 1969, and his illustrious son now on the bench. As every honorable judge who receives a calling to be in the Supreme Court have their special qualities and attainments and contributions, Justice Bedi can be credited with a singular passion he had for teaching. He taught as part-time lecturer of law from 1974 till 1983, even while he had gathered a huge practice. This passion egged him on to later taking up the duties of editorship of the Indian Law Reports for nearly a decade. Truly, he has his love for teaching and legal writing took him on to another 2 books to write contribute 2 books on the law of evidence, a masterly piece of treatise of complex subject, and another in the law of contracts with lucid exposition of the Indian law. It is said that during his tenure as Deputy Advocate General, Additional Advocate General, and then as Advocate General, true to his compassionate nature and being a master of intellect, he often prevailed against wasteful litigation. Professor Balram Gupta, who taught with a judge in Punjab University, fondly recollect the days together as committed teachers, and these are described just as Bedi on the bench, I quote, "He was a perfect mix of Socrates' recipe, hear courteously, consider soberly, answer wisely, and decide impartially," unquote. Sensitivity which honorable judges bring to criminal justice will always be remembered as they become an enduring part of the legacy of courts as protectors of rights. Justice Bedi employed it in good measure. His strong emphasis on procedural safeguards in the Balbir Singh case relating to narcotic drugs and the illegitimacy of unprincipled use of evidence collected during police custody are only a few examples. His caution in Dasgupta's case against public interest litigation running riot remained words of powerful balancing ever to be reflected upon. Justice Bedi was a great believer in diversity and internalized the richness of Indian spiritual thought, which he practiced in full measure, having been bestowed to be in the long line of lineage of the great Guru Nanak. On behalf of the bar, let me convey our deepest condolences to the members of the families of the three honorable judges, all of whom are achievers in their respective fields, and have a gratitude in honor of their invaluable contributions to law and justice.
Honorable Chief Justice of India, Shri Sanjeev Khanna, Honorable Judges of the Supreme Court of India, Attorney General for India, Shri Venkat Ramani, Solicitor General for India, Shri Tushar Mehta, Additional Solicitors General, President of the Advocates on Record Association, Vipin Nair, Executive Committee members of the Supreme Court Bar Association and the Advocates on Record Association, my friends at the bar, members of the families of Justice Kuldeep Singh, late Justice Jagannath Rao, late Justice H.S. Bedi, and friends. We gather here today to pay homage to three great sons of India. Two of them, Justice Kuldeep Singh and Justice H.S. Bedi, witnesses to the tragic events during the partition of India, found their lives uprooted, facing an uncertain future. Despite the accompanying trauma and adversity, they gathered the strength to confront life with courage. With seemingly insurmountable odds, they rose to become judges of this court. The third, Justice M. Jagannath Rao, also met adversity at the start of his career with the untimely demise of his father, but he carried on his father's legacy with great sincerity, perseverance, and humility. These three distinguished judges of this court have contributed significantly to the development of the law and have brought prestige to this institution through their impeccable public service. I will begin by paying tribute to Justice Kuldeep Singh, who left for his heavenly abode on November 25, 2024, at the ripe old age of 92. He was born in Jhelum, Pakistan, on January 132. He was only 15 when partition took place. At the time, his father was running a business in Tehran. He could not, given the spate of the prevailing senseless violation, travel to protect his family. Young Kuldeep, the eldest child, safely brought the family across the border to Patiala. As refugees, they suffered the fate of millions, not knowing what the future held for them. In order to provide his family, young Kuldeep took up a job in the consolidation department in Ludhiana. This desire to protect and provide for his family, reflective of his nobility, continued throughout his life. Such was his greatness that even judgments, no matter how erudite, cannot reveal. When peace prevailed, Justice Kuldeep Singh completed his schooling and obtained a degree of law in 1955 from Punjab University, Ludhiana. His father wished him to join his business in Tehran, but he had other plans. He went to London, where he obtained in 1958 a second law degree from the University of London. He was called to the bar at Lincoln's Inn, where he became a barrister at law. Soon thereafter, he, along with his friend, bought a Rolls-Royce, which they drove from London to Tehran to Chandigarh. This prized possession, I believe, was later donated to the Engineering College in Punjab. Clearly, from his life, clearly for him, life was an adventure. The next great adventure began when he started practice in the district court at Amritsar, and soon thereafter began practicing in the Punjab Haryana High Court at Chandigarh. With his booming voice and forensic skills, he quickly rose to prominence. He developed a large practice, and the multitude of subject matters he dealt with ranged from service law, election law, land acquisition, and constitutional law. He had a spring in his step when he walked into a room, he was noticed, and the passion with which he presented his case made him a formidable opponent. The indomitable spirit with which he challenged and overcame adversity was reflected in his manner in court. He would always stand up for his client, make his arguments forcefully, knowing that he can deal with any challenge. He was undaunted, however difficult the case or bad the facts, which made him an outstanding lawyer. He was extremely persuasive and never gave up, just like his son Paramjit. That his two sons, Paramjit, and always eager to engage in the development of new ideas. He also worked as a lecturer in Punjab University alongside his legal practice from 60 to 71. He was soon appointed standing counsel for the central government of the High Court, elected as the president of the bar in 1976. Given his stellar reputation as a lawyer, he was discreetly invited, and this is a very interesting incident, by a government in the 1970s to be a High Court judge, on the condition that he gave an undertaking to abstain from consuming alcohol after he resumed office. An ideological position for that political party. Justice Kuldeep Singh was known for his extravagant acts of generosity in regularly sponsoring a round of drinks at the Chandigarh Club, which was frequently frequented by senior and junior lawyers. True to himself, he responded to the offer by saying that he could not give an undertaking that he did not intend to keep. He refused to barter his liberty to enjoy a drink for judgeship. That was the man. His career continued to grow, and in 1987, he was appointed an additional Solicitor General of India. Justice Kuldeep Singh was a nurturing mentor and a dedicated educator. 3 lawyers from his chamber went on to become judges of constitutional courts. Justice S.S. Nijjar, who was appointed as a judge of this court, Justice R.S. Mongia, who went to become the Chief Justice of Guwahati High Court, and Justice M.M. Kumar, who went on to become the Chief Justice of Jammu and Kashmir High Court. In December 1998, Justice Kuldeep Singh earned the distinction of becoming the 4th lawyer ever to be invited directly to be a judge of the Supreme Court. He loved nature and was passionate about trekking. He would trek from Chandigarh to Kasauli every other weekend. He would spend all his summers up to 1987 in Kashmir. Anyone who finds solace in the midst of nature is both a free spirit and has a love to preserve the pristine qualities of the gifts of nature. Hence, he proved to be one of the most eloquent, innovative, and forceful judges of this court has seen, institutionalizing public interest litigation and championing a new field of environmental jurisprudence, which others have talked about. Justice Kuldeep Singh also contributed significantly to the development of human rights. In a case I remember clearly, PUCL versus Union of India, he drew on international human rights law to accept my submissions as amicus that phone tapping is a serious invasion of an individual's privacy. He passed extensive directions curtailing the power of the government to tap phones, which continues to be one of the only concrete sets of directions protecting citizens against the invasion of his privacy. He was highly critical of police atrocities in Punjab and awarded large amounts of compensation in encounter killing cases, and I've cited some of them. Justice Kuldeep Singh was a staunch proponent of judicial independence and transparency as a means of preserving judicial integrity. In 1993, he was a part of the 9-judge bench in the second judge's case, which gave primacy to the collegium for appointment of judges. In his separate concurring opinion, he overruled the first judge's case, wisely observing that reconsideration and re-examination are among the normal processes of intelligent living. Justice Kuldeep Singh never hesitated to speak his mind and stood firm in his beliefs. In his separate dissenting opinion in the Indira Sahni case, he observed that the caste system has become a cancer cell to Hindu society, and that secularism, which is a basic feature of the Constitution, also envisages a casteless society. Given his own experiences rising to the very top through dint of hard work, he was concerned that expanding caste-based reservations would entrench these identities rather than facilitate their dissolution for those trying to escape histories of oppression. He warned that reservation alone is not sufficient for the oppressed classes to promote equality. A similar concern can be seen in Justice Kuldeep Singh's separate opinion in a constitution bench on the rights of street vendors, and I go on to set that out. On retirement, Justice Kuldeep Singh was entrusted with the formidable task of chairing the Delimitation Commission in 2002 to delimit the parliamentary and assembly constituencies on the basis of changes in population an exercise which had been undertaken in 1973. And I happened to be a candidate for the Lok Sabha for the parliamentary constituency for Chandni Chowk when he was head of the Delimitation Commission. And he dealt with everybody on an equal footing. And that was his greatest quality. He's survived by his wife, Professor Gurminder Kaur, daughters Simran and Chandana, sons Paramjit Dipinder. Paramjit Singh Patwalia was appointed as a judge of the Punjab and Haryana High Court, but resigned to return to the practice of law. He has a flourishing practice, as we know. Such was his love. And the other thing I want to mention is that such was his love for the family that he took care of not just his immediate family, but also extended family, and helped them in every possible way whenever such situations arose. He was a father figure to all, and it is that comfort of a father that they all miss today. Justice Jagannath Rao was born in Rajamundry, Andhra Pradesh on December 2, 1935, studied in Madras, as his late father, Justice M.S. Ramachandra Rao, was practicing in Madras. He then did a BSc in statistics from Presidency College. For a short stint, he joined the Indian Statistical Institute, but left it, opting to follow his father's footsteps. With an LLB degree from Osmania University, he enrolled as an advocate in 1960. The tragic passing away of his father, just 4 months after his appointment as a judge of the Andhra Pradesh High Court, created a void. In the absence of a father's protection, young Jagannath found himself alone, with a family to provide for. A man of immense grit and dedication, determined to carry forward his father's legacy, he immersed himself in the law. It is only dedication that distinguishes a champion from a crowd. As a lawyer, it is this quality of commitment and dedication throughout his professional life that made him stand out from the rest. He soon excelled on the civil side, and service matters his forte. His inquisitiveness and familiarity with judicial decisions of other common law jurisdictions helped him acquire in-depth knowledge of constitutional and administrative law. Even as he became a well-sought-after counsel, and this is important, he charged modest fees along with his pro bono practice. Dedication to the law became the spirituality and humanity personified the man. He never hesitated to help those who sought his advice to resolve contentious issues. Those who knocked at his door knew that his wise counsel will help them find a way forward, such was their confidence in him. Justice Rao's journey on the bench began when he was appointed additional judge of the High Court of Andhra Pradesh in 1982, and thereafter made a permanent judge in November 1982. As a judge, Justice Rao was patient, courteous, academically oriented, though he never allowed his intelligence and erudition to create a distance between himself and other lawyers or litigants before him. He had a strong sense of empathy and was known for his steadfast commitment to justice, and I've cited several cases that he has authored. After nearly a decade in the Andhra Pradesh High Court, he was appointed Chief Justice of the Kerala High Court in 91 August, where he opened a computer cell, the first step towards digitization of judicial work, way back in 1991. With his excellent record on both the judicial and administrative side, he was subsequently appointed as Chief Justice of the Delhi High Court from 94 to 97. He was then elevated to this court, where he served from March 23, 97 till December 2000. As a judge, Justice Rao believed in the dignity of each litigant and in doing justice in each case. His son, Justice M.S. Rao, who is present here today, and continued in his father's footsteps, first as a judge of the Andhra Pradesh High Court and presently as Chief Justice of the Jharkhand High Court, recounted to me his father's advice about a good judge, and I quote, "Pendency is not your problem," he advised. "Pendency is the CJI's problem. Your duty is to do justice for the person whose case is before you." Close quote. I think these are very valuable words. Justice Rao was known for his in-depth analysis, strong grasp of comparative law, and scientific approach to legal issues. He authored several landmark judgments in a number of fields, including administrative law, arbitration, service law, labor law, civil procedure, and I've recounted all of them. This soft-spoken, learned, and impartial judge was appointed to several committees after his retirement from the bench in December 2000, many of which related to the functioning of the judicial system. The National Commission to review the working of the Constitution was set up by the Union government in 2000. Justice Rao was invited to be a member of the subcommittee headed by Justice Krishna Iyer, which prepared a consultation paper on the enlargement of fundamental rights. He was also a special invitee to the committee headed by Justice H.R. Khanna, with Justice B.P. Jeevan Reddy as member in charge for submitting the consultation paper presented on financial autonomy of the Indian judiciary. Justice Rao was appointed as vice chairman of the 16th Law Commission and then its chairman in from 2003 to 2007. As chairman, he gave 22 reports on a broad range of issues, including the right of self-incrimination, review of the Evidence Act on legal education, witness protection programs, unfair contractual terms, transactional litigation, and so on. One of his most remarkable reports was a proposal for the constitution of commercial courts in high courts for digitization in the judicial system, both of which have proved to be revolutionary changes in the Indian judiciary. As is clear from his tremendous work on various commissions, Justice Rao was a diligent scholar, and brought academic rigor to all his endeavors. As an arbitrator in commercial disputes, and this is very important, he would research latest developments in the law, in English law, Australian law, and other common law countries, and share these decisions with lawyers on both sides even prior to the first sitting. He attended the Commonwealth Law Conferences in Melbourne and many other smaller. He was very tech-savvy and worked entirely on the iPad, including doing his own international law research even during his last days. During the pandemic, he typed out his own arbitral awards, some of which ran into 400 pages. He was also a member of the board of Messrs. Truth Labs, a private forensic laboratory, and also served at the C.R. Rao Advanced Institute of Mathematics, Statistics, and Computer Science. A great lover of Carnatic music, he especially loved listening to recordings of M.S. Subbulakshmi. He lived a simple yet eventful life. For him, the self was not that important, but he never indulged himself in the manner we get to see in the world of today. He embraced the law for public good, dedicating himself to upholding its majesty. The law was his life, and his complete dedication unwavering. Befittingly, he brought up his 3 children to respect hard work, to value money, and most of all, to dedicate themselves to public service. He is survived by his son, Justice Ramachandra Rao, his daughters Ratna Manjari, MSc in Mathematics, and Rama Devi, a software engineer, who are both based abroad with their families. Justice Harjit His persona epitomized simplicity, humility, equanimity, and sincerity, attributes he wore on his sleeve. He always endeavored to do the right thing, a value he inculcated in his children. He was truly a noble human being. Even though he hailed from a royal family, they being direct descendants of Guru Nanak Ji, he never considered himself as someone special. Harry was also born in rural Pakistan in 1946, a year before independence. After fleeing from the horrors of partition, the family initially settled down in a small township on the India-Pakistan border. Following the footsteps of his father, Justice Tikka Jagjit Singh Bedi, who rose to become a judge of the Punjab and Haryana High Court, Harry completed his LLB at Delhi University. Close friend what fate Chandigarh. Worked in the chamber of Kaushal. One later went on to law minister in a cabinet. The courtesy and respect displayed by chamber juniors then is found missing nowadays. Times have changed, so has the practice of law. From service to the community, it is now business from the community. Having imbibed the values of a doyen of the bar, of hard work and honesty, his practice soon flourished. He developed a burgeoning civil law practice. That did not deter him from continuing to teach students as a part-time lecturer in law at Punjab University from 1974 to 83. As an advocate, Justice Bedi had a special quality of being confident and assured, as well as gentle in the manner of presentation. He was very pleasant to listen to, and all the more persuasive for his amiable manner in which he presented his case. By 1983, he was appointed Deputy Advocate General of Punjab, and in 1987, he was given a senior's gown. With his masterful understanding of constitutional and administrative law, he was soon appointed Additional Advocate General and then Advocate General in March 91. He was elevated as Additional Judge of the Punjab Haryana High Court. As a judge, Justice Bedi was an attentive listener, extremely patient, and displayed exceptional clarity of thought in his interactions with counsel. This only happens when a judge has an uncluttered, impartial disposition. But he held lawyers to a very high standard of intellectual rigor while preserving a warm and congenial atmosphere in his courtroom. He encouraged young lawyers to argue cases and gently advised them on ways to improve their craft. Justice Bedi was elevated as Chief Justice of the Bombay High Court on October 3, 2006, and thereafter appointed a judge of this honorable court on January 12, 2007. Justice Bedi's judicial philosophy was deeply rooted in what he called, quote, constitutional compassion, close quote. He believed that the Constitution was not merely a legal, but a social document meant to transform society and protect its most vulnerable members. Justice Bedi's legacy in the Indian judiciary is also marked by his meticulous attention to detail, particularly in criminal matters, and I've cited some of them, many of them. Perhaps most notably, in 2012, post his retirement, Justice Bedi demonstrated extraordinary courage and commitment as chairman of the Supreme Court appointed monitoring committee when examining alleged fake encounters. The special task force headed by Justice Bedi was asked to monitor the investigation of 17 such cases between 2002 and 2006. After meticulously sifting through the evidence, Justice Bedi found that 3 of the 17 incidents reflected that persons were prima facie killed in fake and staged encounters. Justice Bedi recommended prosecuting several police officers and officials involved, demonstrating his unwavering commitment to truth and justice. The report has further led to calls for reforms in police accountability and stricter oversight to prevent misuse of authority. As a person, though Justice Bedi was gregarious, he loved to be in the midst of nature, far away from the madding crowd, reading and going for long walks. His visits to Kasauli, for he had a great love for the hills, provided him that space and solitude. In his youth, he was a national-level trap and skeet shooter and represented Punjab at the national level. In his early days, while it was still legal, he would also shoot wild partridges, a treat at which I was invited whenever I was in Chandigarh. Tittar is what he said, as he would call it, was his favorite pastime as a young man. At his lovely farm in Punjab, he took care of many animals, ducks, rabbits, cows, emus. His love for the animal defined him for the man he was, empathetic, caring, and at one with nature. That empathy exuded while on the bench. He also enjoyed music and used to regale guests with his performances on the mouth organ. I just happened to call him just 3 weeks before he passed away. And with welled up tears, he said to me, "Come and see me." I missed the opportunity. And I always regret that I could not pay a visit before he passed away. He is survived by his two sons, Jasjeet and Sarvajit. His legacy in the law is now being carried forward by his son, Jasjeet Singh, who is a judge of the Punjab and Haryana High Court. We offer our sincere condolences to you and your families in this time of grief. To all those who are gathered here who have lost their dear ones, we offer, on behalf of the bar, our heartfelt condolences. May your souls rest in eternal peace.
May I request you all to stand to observe 2 minutes silence. Justice Kuldeep Singh, late Honorable Mr. Justice M. Jagannath Rao, and late Honorable Mr. Justice H.S. Bedi, former judges, Supreme Court of India. The court will sit for normal work at 11:45.